Welcome everyone to another episode of Coffee and Whiteboard Markers. I'm joined with my co-host Sean Brentnell. I'm Miles OK. We look forward to taking you all on for the ride. Special episode today. Sean Brentnell's going to take it away.
So it's not really, you haven't given me much time, have you? Like third, fourth episode I've done and I'm leading the way.
I just see greatness, mate. I see greatness in you. I need you to take it now.
You've got to take a leap, don't you?
You do. A leap of faith.
Today's episode's about specific things that graduate teachers won't know.
Okay.
All right, so it'll vary depending on where you're at, but I want to talk about like the givens, so the things that happen throughout a year that teachers deal with that are just sort of swept under the rug and not stressed about, and all these peripheral things that we are handling, as well as teaching.
So we're looking at the graduate teachers just finished university, about to head into teaching.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So got a bit of fear in their mind, had a few pracs, feeling a little bit confident.
Yeah, and they've been told like this is you can expect this, you can expect that, and when they're considering how it's going to be when they become a teacher.
Yeah.
What kind of things will happen? Like they're non-negotiable kind of things.
I remember walking down at my school, my last prac, and it was like the last week of pracs. All my observations had been done. I was walking down to the staff room past the science block, and there was kids who'd got two-story building, got out of the roof, were running, out of the window, running on the roof, man. Yeah. And this is like a seasoned teacher. Yeah. And I was like, how does this normally happen? Like this surely can't be happening.
My sister's on long service leave, and her prac teacher, she works at a hard-to-staff school.
Yep.
Her prac teacher rang her last week and said, I don't know what to do. These students are climbing out the window.
Have they got weapons on you? You're doing well. Just get the weapons out and just go from there.
That's common.
Behaviour is common. I told, a pre-service teacher a while back, told him how I was like a third or fourth year teacher, had to go and help another teacher to get a student out of the room. He threw a pen at me, the kid. Yeah. And then just walked off. And
exactly.
I was like,
that's what we're talking about. So those things that will happen.
Yeah.
I don't think they're not going to happen.
I'm excited, mate. Here we go.
I thought we'd start with the difference in age between us and between me and graduate teachers. So there was a teacher at school, and I was talking to him, and I said, he was going on an excursion to Adventure World with the Year 11s. And I said, I haven't been to Adventure World for 15 years. Yep. And he goes, I've never been there. I said, well, how old are you? And he's 22. I'm 41.
Those speed slides at Adventure World, they're incredible, man.
Yeah, he's only just older than the amount of time since I've been to Adventure World.
Young at heart.
Strange, hey? So they're coming in with different skills.
Yep.
And they're probably closer to the student's age.
So how old, 21, 22 this guy was?
Yeah, 22.
How, first year teaching?
Yep.
How was he feeling about taking the kids to Adventure World? Nervous?
I was looking forward to it, I think.
Little does he know, mate.
Yeah.
Adventure World.
So I was just thinking about like how the social experience of a student is different, and that graduate teachers might be a bit closer, especially with slang. So I've got a little bit of a skibbity quiz for you.
Skibbity quiz.
So when I was at school, we had a bunch of words that were we'd use. So like heaps, that's heaps good, or that's are you gonna have some food when you get home, or heaps? Yeah. No guarans meant not guaranteed to do it. So
as in, are you coming out tonight?
Yeah, no guarans.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Bomber meant something was wicked. Like so.
Bomber. I never heard.
Look at your jacket. It's bomber.
Is that a your generation thing, or your older sister generation
more
thing?
Specific. My school sort of thing.
Bomber.
Surfy sort of cultural thing.
Yeah.
And givens. That's givens. Like given. That's a given.
That sounds pretty surfy.
Yeah.
Givens, mate. Let's head out tonight. Givens. So, all right. What's my lingo? Yeah. I can't think right now, man. I know there was at the time. I'm drawing a few blanks at the moment.
Obviously, you had sick and wicked and rad and whatever, mint.
Yeah.
Those are common.
Do this, or leave it with me, and I'll get one or two by the end of the episode.
So I think this generation's slang is probably the worst thing I've ever heard, right?
What is skibbity? I hear it all the time.
I don't know. I've never had anyone actually explain it to me well.
The kids just run around like the hall saying skibbity.
Yeah.
I thought it was just them like glitching out kind of thing.
I don't think they know what it means. So I think it's just a meme. Anyway, the first question: what does slay mean? Is it to fuck?
As in I slayed that test?
No, they just say, slay.
I dominate. I did well.
To impress or succeed stylishly.
Yes.
No cap.
No lies.
Yep. Tell the truth.
Yep.
Mid. That's pretty obvious.
Mid, like mid-pack, like middle,
Yeah. Median.
medium. Forget I haven't heard the kids use that.
Yeah, I say mid all the time. Those ones are pretty easy.
Oh, that's entry level, is it?
Yeah, that's entry. They get harder.
I'm
I'll
out of
do
my
another one
comfort
next
zone
week.
What about,
I got more.
please?
I'm dead.
Nah, I haven't heard that. I'm dead.
I'm dead. Like that's
I'm over. It's too hard. I give up.
no, they're laughing heaps.
Are you serious?
Yep. There's another one on here that says sus. We said sus.
We said actually sus is we use a bit. That's sus. I don't
Yeah.
believe in it. No, it's not
Do
true.
you remember that comedy show, the Australian one, where they'd go nothing sus?
No.
Bussin'?
Good.
Something that tastes really good, apparently.
Bussin'.
So a particular
Is
to
this
food.
this is like you've heard this or you've researched this somewhere?
Both.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I left the ones in I'd heard.
All right, so bussin' as in we'll go on to the bussin' can get some bussin' food from the canteen.
Well, I think it's more like when you're eating it.
This is bussin'.
Yeah. Have we ever? We must sound so old.
We must sound so old, man.
Ratio.
Nah, what do you mean ratio? This is,
Social media.
no
social
way.
media. What's ratio mean for social media? What are they talking about?
Likes to not likes?
Yes. No, when the reply gets more likes than the original post or more comments.
Oh, then so I threw this photo up. What's your ratio?
Yeah, so then I get on a comment. I get more attention than you do.
I don't mind that one.
Yeah, that's all right.
I don't mind that one.
A simp.
Simple. You're
no.
a simp. You're basic.
No.
Oh, what?
Being overly kind or romantic.
Simp.
Yeah. I think. Or maybe I got it wrong. CEO. What's the last one? CEO. Describe someone who is.
No, what do you mean CEO?
Well, like you're the CEO of podcasting.
You're the boss.
Yeah.
You're the mate. Is
Yeah,
that
you're extremely good at it.
Oh, we used boss a bit as well when I was growing up.
But that was more like, something's good, right?
This
That's,
is good.
that's boss.
That was boss.
Yeah.
So they're saying you're the boss here.
Mm.
Can I put one in?
Yeah.
Sigma.
Yep.
I heard this so much, man. I'm a Sigma person.
I had one as a car.
Yeah, so Sigma, from my understanding, refers to the dominance hierarchy.
Oh, of course. They are very socially aware, aren't they?
But am I on the right path here?
I have no idea.
So, okay, so they're saying, so you got whatever the layers are, then your alpha person's at the top, yeah? But then out of the pyramid, if you can't see me, I'm talking about a pyramid, the Sigma male apparently lies, or Sigma female, lies outside of that. So,
So they're not concerned with
they're not concerned. It's kind of like the lone wolf.
Okay. So you're too cool to actually even try to be an alpha. You're like
Yeah, exactly.
your own personality.
No one bosses me around. I don't need followers. I'll just do my own thing anyway.
So a Sigma person wouldn't use the term Sigma.
But I'm with you. But yeah, they all do.
Yeah.
Running around.
That's funny how that alpha stuff's become popular recently, like being an alpha male and the way it you should carry yourself and stuff like that.
Well, and this is what I find with behaviour management stuff as well. You ask the student to do something, and it's all, I'm the Sigma one, and you're like, hold on, I'm not having this. It's not a power struggle right now.
It's not about that.
Trying to help you out.
It's about what your responsibility.
Again, man, teaching for a decade and a half, don't normally go and research common words. One of my credits on Audible I used for a book on Sigma. And I shouldn't have done it. I researched it in a paragraph.
Oh yeah, because the algorithm just brings it up.
Waste of time, mate.
Yeah, so graduate teachers. So I graduated in 2006.
Yep.
So when I first graduated, everyone's got buzz theories and
words and stuff.
Yeah. And outcomes, I think we've spoken about before, but outcomes was massive when I graduated. So we had to learn how to integrate that in our reporting and assessment and stuff like that.
Yep.
So did you have any aside from that?
So I graduated 2008. So I had outcomes. We were learning about outcomes at university, but by the time I started in 2009, it had been scrapped again. So I can't remember too much about it. In terms of, sorry, what was it? So the question is, what was buzz things at the time? Student-centered learning, they're always talking about. So look after the student, collaborative group work as well. So the student-centered learning, go in there, it's all about the student, not just it's individualising for the student. You got 20, 25, 30 kids in your class. Every student is an individualised pathway.
That's still around, probably.
Still around. So it seemed maybe it was more in my mind when I was starting. It seemed like a bigger push for at least the school I was in, or even the wider community. And then in terms of the collaborative learning, the school I was at the time out in the country were having problems with engagement for students. So this the Kagan, collaborative stuff, the group work that was pushing there, and it had potential, but like anything, needed to be
gaps.
Implemented correctly.
Yeah, so I think the point is that the teachers that are coming out now, they're going to have skills that we didn't have.
Yeah.
So a lot more technology.
Need to be immersed in technology.
Yeah. I think they'd be good at relating kids with social awareness stuff. So mental wokeness, for example.
Right.
These kind of slang terms. Like
right. I think on the
Right.
emotional front, mental health's definitely I don't think it's exploded. It's definitely more in the view.
Prevalent.
Yes. Yeah. I know when I was going through school as a student, it wasn't talked about.
Yeah, and that's not the point that I wanted to raise, but it's more so like teachers that come out would understand the climate that the students are in.
Right.
And the things that are at the forefront of the mind, because we wouldn't have had that mindset as a student or as a beginning teacher.
So it's more in society there at a younger age or closer. Yeah, okay, with you.
And I think that's social media, basically. Anyway.
Yep.
So I just think that good on you, firstly, graduate teachers.
Well done.
You do have an advantage, but we have experience, I suppose. So I just thought might be a good way to run the podcast might be to tell them things that are definitely going to happen that they might not have thought about or projected.
I think I'll start.
Yeah,
I think the common one's the lesson planning. Yeah, there's a lot of emphasis on you need to have a lesson plan for every lesson, and it needs to be drilled down in 5-minute blocks, whatever it is, which is good to start with because it gives you a template to follow. But just realise once you start in the classroom yourself, it's not going to work in 2 to 5 minute, even 10-minute blocks. You just want to make sure you're adaptable. Students will come late to your class. There'll be interruptions. Don't get freaked out. And I was guilty of it. I needed to be, at whatever, 12:23 to 12:25, I was doing this. Don't run it that way. Just have a couple of points in your lesson.
Yep.
I'm doing this, I'm doing that. The less regimented it is, less detailed it is. Just have a starting point and an end point. Don't stress too much about the high amount of detail needed. I'm a big believer in is just as long as you know where you're starting each lesson and where you want to finish up, you'll get there.
Yep. And also, like if you're doing a tech-based lesson, so they need laptops.
Yep.
Maybe they forgot their laptop, or it's dead, or the IT rooms are booked, or that happens.
Yes.
Every day. So or you've managed to get a booking in the IT room for Tuesday, but during that period there's an assembly.
Exactly.
So you can't use
I want to test the plan testing.
And then you go, I'm going to have to rethink what I'm doing. So,
yes.
Have it sequenced and have other plans and make sure that you are able to be spontaneous with what's happening, I guess.
And it's not just the backup plan, it's the backup plan for the backup plan. Not again detail, but have something there.
And that's, graduate teachers would be told that, but it's definitely a thing.
Yeah, I had another one, man. Like I was always been a new teacher, scared. What if I didn't know something in front of the class?
Yep.
And if I didn't know this, and what if I taught an extension class and then I don't know the math? It's going to happen. Like
it has happened to me.
It has, and yeah. And when it happens, it's not the end of the world. Like most students, if you handle it, go, I don't know that, but I'm willing to follow up on it, or thanks for telling me, I've learnt that now. It was when you get defensive and they play little games. It doesn't need to be that way. You'll make
actually happened
mistakes.
to me yesterday when I was teaching HAS, because I'm not a trained HAS teacher.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, I can't remember what the specific act and bill.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how a law becomes a law?
No.
Do you know a bill? They vote on a bill and it becomes an act.
Oh, sorry. Right. Yes.
So I'd forgotten which one was which.
Yeah. Sure.
So I was like, I can't remember that, so don't write it down yet. And then in front of them, I looked it up on the internet. So you could use it as a teaching moment. Like you could say, if you don't know something, because students don't know research skills. Yeah, and that's, I think if you've got IQ, whatever, your intelligence gets you so far. If you've got research skills these days, you can get so much further. Yeah. And I had a similar situation 2 days ago doing an online platform. The students are like, what is, trying to get definitions. I'm like, you've got research right there. Like you've got the tools provided for you. And you just do this over and over, that's going to make you learn whatever you want to. Yeah. And as long as you can verify sources, whatever.
I think that's a great skill.
Yeah, so that's part of, I guess that's part of the lesson planning thing, is there's going to be things that pop up that you need to roll with, and it's like if you're a highly organised planning type person,
Those teachers, we know about those teachers.
Yeah, and then you got to let it not affect your teaching. So second one is classroom management takes time to build.
Yeah.
So it's not a week, it's not really a 5-week thing. Some things take half a term for you to get to every student.
Have the patience.
Yeah.
Have the patience when dealing with behaviour management as well.
So I think that new teachers might assume that the kids are going to respect them straight away, where that's not the case.
Yes.
Like, especially in hard staff schools, rotating staff, and some of them come from broken homes without one parent. So they're used to people leaving, so they are actually actively against offering respect.
I think a lot of it comes down to the trust as well, doesn't it? I know when I first year out, I was teaching the country again. Head of English there had just come back. She was older, had just come back from working in a hard school in London, and she says she was a great teacher. Her first year there, kids gave her the hardest time. As soon as they saw she was back day 1, year 2, she was fine. It's just that they've seen so many teachers come through. They're just like, do we put our trust in you? Are you going to be here? Yeah. And I find that I've been through it myself, and I see it with staff coming in. The first year, the kids are just testing the teacher. Yeah. And as soon as they see them back, they want to be around that teacher, and then your perceptions and those classroom environments change pretty quick.
Yep. And there's 1 or 2 in every school that won't trust you for 2 years, 2.5 years.
Exactly.
They're usually the ones that are a lot truancy and stuff like that, but they do come around, and that's sort of the time scope that you have to think about.
For me, behaviour, I was worried about being in the class by myself, man. I think when you're on pre-service or prac back then, the teacher's always in your room observing, and I had my prac always had pretty
proxy, good authority by proxy. So
so if anything ever in the back of my mind, I'm like, if anything truly goes wrong, at least I know there's someone here who's going to handle it. Then I didn't portray it to the kids. But my first year, definitely, I was like, stuff goes pear-shaped now. Yeah, I wasn't a demountable. There was not many people around. But once I was in there, I was like, you know what? I know I can keep enough handle on this. If it does go, I can sort of take it apart bit by bit.
I suppose the given thing is that if they don't respect your authority, like not in a aggressive manner, but like they don't respect you as a teacher, they're not going to listen to you when you want to practice your CMS stuff, like your classroom management stuff.
Yeah.
But what you can do is be consistent. Like,
be consistent.
Even if they don't respect you, when they come to class knowing what is going to happen and what the expectations are, then they get used to it, and they.
Yeah, I mean, and this, it's hard to say this, but kids can be brutal as well. And you don't want them to be. You don't wish it on anyone. But there's going to be times where you're probably going to get my feelings got hurt. Yeah. But just leave that at the door as well. I know it's easy to say on camera, don't hold grudges. Yeah. But just don't do it. And the kids, again, it's kind of they're testing you as well.
And the easiest way to do that is be like authentic and consistent. So if you're regularly yourself, then whether they like you or not, even kids that don't like you get an understanding eventually.
You're good.
So
yeah. Yeah, and behaviour management is going to be, especially schools these days, fine-tune that as best as possible, as quickly as possible. Yeah. That's going to be a trick.
Yeah, so I think that's, I think when I started teaching, I didn't realise, I thought, they're going to sit, like I'm going to make them sit down in certain seats and that kind of thing, but it does take a lot of time, so keep that in mind. Emotional labour of teaching.
Emotional labour of teaching. It's a tough job, man.
It's not just teaching, and that you need to give yourself boundaries. Yep. So we want to talk about anything about that, or you want me to take it?
About other people giving you...
Well, I think when you first start teaching, it is actually a surprise how much time that you spend with everything, not just the actual direct instruction.
Yep. I again, being a young guy, I was 23 at the time, teaching in a country town, so I was back to 5:30 on weeknights getting my planning and stuff done. I didn't have young family and other stuff to go to.
And were you doing that, because you've mentioned this before, were you doing that because you thought if you stopped doing it, then you'd be negatively viewed?
Yeah, definitely. And I had an expectation of myself that I wanted my classes to be seen as being very well run and you're a good teacher, So I thought one way to achieve that was to be really planned, you know,
Yeah.
and that
It's true.
has its
But,
benefits, but then it can be very rigid as well.
Yeah.
You know, and that first year, as much as, and you know, I didn't mind having music on in the background and stuff, so I didn't see it as a chore, but I did it because I thought I wanted to be seen as an effective teacher.
Yeah, when really not many people have any idea of what's actually happening in your classroom, do they?
No.
Other teachers.
No.
Unless you're doing classroom obs for...
For sure, and on that, and we've talked about it plenty of times, just the first year, just survive, just get out there, don't take too much on, just work on your own classes.
So the emotional labour being the peripheral things other than even in classroom, like I spend a lot of time doing monitoring cards for kids that are coming back from suspension. And filling in psych forms for kids that are on new medications and kids that have come with a broken leg or they can't get up the stairs or that kind of thing.
Yes.
Breaking up with people, fighting with friends, all that stuff. That happens and you will be involved.
Yeah, and so it's a roller coaster as well. Like even now, by the time midday comes around, I'm usually emotionally frazzled.
Yeah.
And I've give myself time out and go, I'm just going to take 30 minutes now just to go walk out in the oval.
Yep.
Look at nature, get some fresh air and try to recalibrate because it is a lot going on.
And if your kids know you well, then they know when you're like peaking and that you just want to be left alone and they actually are responsive to whether you want them to be quiet seriously and stuff like that.
And then that comes back to being genuine as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And the kids appreciate it, you know.
Yeah.
If they've seen you've been through, not war, but you've been through tough times together and fought through it together against each other and then come out the other side.
Yeah, I suppose that's it, isn't it? Like it takes a long time for them to view you as one of them, one of us. Like we're all in this together.
Yeah, it's not me versus you guys. Yeah. Or you guys versus me.
Yep. And that probably comes down to my next point is the importance of presence and teacher voice. So if you don't have a loud voice or if you aren't physically imposing...
You can't be a teacher, don't do it, game over. It definitely helps.
So I don't know, I never did it, but like if you're softly spoken, you might want to practice.
Yeah, teacher voice is important. I think, and they're projecting. I mean, I don't know what the stats are recently, but I reckon public speaking is one of the scariest things you can do. And then we're doing it, and teachers are doing it in front of 30 kids, which may or may not want to be there.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's all that public speaking is going to take time. It's going to take time to build that presence. But I think the consistency helps that as well. If the students see you following through with things, it starts to go, okay, he's a guy or a lady that gets stuff done. I can't only go, here's the boundaries. You know, I can only go so far with this.
Yeah.
It myself helps being a taller gentleman. I can have that presence walking in. But in saying that, I've seen some incredibly great teachers, smaller, quietly spoken, but the kids have that rapport and respect with, you know, whether it's a mother figure possibly may help at times, sometimes it doesn't, but they're not sitting there and relying on the physical stature to get with. But I think it is something you don't have to be, it helps.
Yeah, I think I've seen teachers use things like call and response and 3, 2, 1.
And listening.
Thank you. Like, I'd never use that, but there are teachers that it's effective for.
And it works, doesn't it?
So I think the point is that you actually practice that because presence does matter and your tone of voice does matter.
I feel you're almost taking on, you become like a different personality. There's like in-class personality and then there's your out-of-class personality. And it kind of spins students out when they see, like I used to see students when I was coaching sport and stuff, and they'd see you when they're playing sport and you're different, you know, but I've got to be like this in class. I'm quite strict and stuff in class and I'm more relaxed outside of class because it's your own life.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking at the time, my man, so we've got time for one more.
Time for one more. All right. I think
it's been good this episode, mate.
What else we got? Power, routine versus structure, meeting diverse needs without losing sanity. So that's actually a big one for me.
All right, let's go with that.
Okay, so it takes a long time to have learning pathways for people, for each individual, you know what I mean? Differentiation.
Mm-hmm.
So don't expect that you're going to be able to supply the learning that every single student needs down to the T. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to group your work into objectives that each group needs.
It's a lot of work, man.
It is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. I think a lot of work does pay off in the end.
IEPs, BEPs,
Yep.
SEN.
Yep. How is it mapped to the syllabus, the Australian curriculum? What's the learning area strengths? How well do you know the student? Have you maybe contact to the parents? What are the parents' thoughts?
Yep. And a lot of that's not monitored by the school or your department. It's stuff that is expected of you to have incorporated in your lesson. So, like if you are meant to be attacking a certain area according to their individual plan, no one's going to check up on that. So you have to report on whether that's happened.
So the amount of accountability, the self-accountability is important.
Yeah. So I think it is less accountable than you think it is when you're starting teaching, don't you?
The profession?
Yeah.
I think it's almost, I feel for me personally, it's become more accountable these days. Or it's definitely, there's more...
To be accounted for, but they're not checking you weekly or by term or semester-wise. It's just expected that it's done.
Yeah, so you can get stuff done your own time, within a time frame. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree. But man, that's probably a lot of teachers looking to get in the profession, that first term is going to be brutal because they're going to see all this stuff in front of them. There's going to be, if it's whatever their streaming is, going to be all these mixed abilities. And there's not going to be 5 kids at this level, 5 kids, but even your diagnostic testing or how your teacher observations will be off to start with. But again, it'll become better over time.
Yeah. So I think that when you're coming into teaching, what you don't know is that you'll be told you have to do a myriad of things, and it's going to seem very stressful, and you're going to spend a lot of time doing it. But your personal health and your mental health is definitely more important.
Definitely.
And
it makes you more effective in the classroom, and you're feeling better about yourself. It does. It makes
you more efficient with everything.
Yeah.
But the best way to do that is to ask people and find like a mentor.
Yep.
So this is how you do it. Like this, they're not going to care about you handing this in on Tuesday.
Yep.
So prioritize, go home, those kind of things.
Yep.
So
my wrap up for the episode, I think, look, we need more. Well done, hang in there. Graduate teachers need more good teachers out there.
Yeah.
But it's the first 2 years in my mind are the hardest. So even just keep that in your mind when you're going through. It does not get harder than this in teaching. I've just got to get through. I think that can be a big motivating force at times.
That's it, my man.
I'm impressed. Sean Brentnell with his best. Like always, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next episode.